Now, on paper, there are few problems with the Green Passports program. It's designed to encourage Israelis to go and get vaccinated against coronavirus by giving vaccinated individuals access to certain amenities that the unvaccinated cannot enjoy without a recent negative COVID test. But critics are alleging that the practice is discriminatory and will likely lead to lawsuits. Here to discuss is Maya Fried, international spokesperson at the Association for Civil Rights in Israel. Maya, thank you so much for being with us. Now, do you believe that the Green Passport program is discriminatory?
So we actually don't see this issue as so black and white. It's not that it's going to be discriminatory starting yesterday when it began. We see the sense with the government wanting to roll out the program and reopen the market very slowly. And it makes sense to have positive encouragement and try to get more and more people vaccinated. We see the room for the government to do this. The question is it proportional? And is it going to be temporary? And if there are any other alternatives that will come up down the line. So we're following the situation. At the moment, we understand that this is the way to reopen the economy. And the question moving forward, as the infections hopefully drop, will be how does it affect the Green Passport system?
Again, though, this kind of falls on my next question. How is this any different, really, than any other vaccine that is routinely required or strongly suggested by Israel? For example, the measles, mumps, and rubella MMR vaccine, the Tdap vaccine, hepatitis A and B, and the list goes on. Some of these required just to enter Israel. Many of them are strongly suggested specifically for at-risk groups. How is this any different?
So that's an interesting question. We're experiencing an emergency situation unlike any other in our generation, and we understand the need for this positive reinforcement. And like I said, the question is when we get to herd immunity or when we get to a certain infection rate, how this will change the situation. And also the question is about the populations who are not able to get vaccinated. People 16 years and under, people with other underlying medical conditions. What are the solutions for those people? We don't have the answers, not as this situation is unfolding. And as you know, here in Israel, on a day-to-day basis, the policy is changing, the infection rate is changing. So we're following the situation. In the meantime, we are getting tangible complaints about employee issues where vulnerable employees have been asked by their employers about their vaccination status. And we appeal to the Attorney General about this issue because it can't be that people are getting fired based on whether or not they're choosing to be vaccinated.
So on the one hand, I completely understand your argument saying, there are a lot of people who cannot get the vaccine. And that really is an argument for why all the people who can get the vaccine should get the vaccine, is to protect those people who are at risk and cannot get the vaccine themselves. But now you're also speaking now of potential discrimination suits in the workplace where employers are saying you can't come and work unless you have a certain vaccine. But where do you draw the line? At what point does the right to protect or decide what goes into your body get overridden by the right for a company to ensure a safe workplace or to set standards for employment?
It's a great question, and it comes down to the notion of what are basic human rights in the first place. And the answer is vague because there is no absolute right. In different situations, the government has room to infringe on certain rights, and that's where proportionality comes in, right? If you commit a crime, then it's okay for you to be incarcerated. Nobody really argues with that. And so your freedom of movement and freedom at all is taken away because you did something to warrant that. So we don't really question that. In an emergency situation, the question is what types of rights should be infringed on? What's the proportional measure to take? And we have to continuously reassess that situation. So if in 6 months, the infection rate is half of what it is now, but the Green Passport system is exactly the same, there will be civil rights issues. In terms of employment, if they want to infringe on employment, it can't be that every employer chooses on his own basis how to do that. There needs to be a democratic process, there needs to be legislation, and it needs to be a policy across the board.
All right, Maya Fried, thank you so much.
Thank you.